At what age should we wean kittens? It's Shani, certified feline training and behavior specialist with Wild at Heart. And guess what? It's not 8 weeks.
A major study involving over 5,700 domestic cats showed that kittens who were weaned before 8 weeks were dramatically more likely to exhibit aggression and repetitive stress behaviors later in life. According to that same study, kittens who were early weaned had double the risk of being flagged by their guardians as having behavioral problems compared to kittens who were weaned later. In contrast, kittens who were weaned at 14 and 15 weeks were less likely to show aggression towards strangers and less likely to have those stereotypic behaviors. A lot of us are familiar with this term single kitten syndrome. And now this is not a scientific term, but that term directly relates to the study that I am referencing. And cats labeled as aggressive or having stereotypic behaviors or just problematic behaviors are way more likely to be surrendered to a shelter or even euthanized. So we have a problem here because this early weaning is not setting cats up for success. But most shelters and rescues wean their kittens at 8 weeks, which means that we are basically just continuing this pipeline of cats and kittens ending up at shelters because of behavior problems. And I just want to be very clear. I'm a shelter worker. I have worked with a lot of different shelters, open intake shelters, and there are a lot of nuances with this. Number one, so many people kidnap. They steal kittens and they bring them in without the mom. And oftentimes when shelters do have mom and babies, they don't have the time, the space, or the resources to keep kittens and moms together for that long. And we also need to look at the science. And does this mean that every single kitten that is early weaned is going to be aggressive or have behavioral problems? No, that's not how science works. But this study is pretty significant. And if you are a shelter or rescue and you get mom and babies and you have the resources to keep mom and babies together for 14 to 15 weeks, you should absolutely do that. It relates to the video I posted before about the improper socialization of kittens, because we desperately need to set kittens up for success later in life. And when we use those flooding techniques, it is scientifically proven to create cats that are more aggressive, more fearful, and more likely to hide. When I read this study, it blew my mind, because as a shelter worker and as the person who deals with all of the surrenders and seeing a lot of behavioral problems with cats being surrendered, I just started thinking, shelters are part of the problem. Shelters are part of the reason why these cats keep ending up back at shelters. There's so much new and exciting science that is coming out about cats. And a lot of people who have been in cat rescue or sheltering cats have been doing the same thing for decades and decades. And I'm just asking, let's stop, let's think, let's do better. Let's change what we've been doing for decades, because it's not working every time. We still have hundreds of thousands of cats ending up in shelters. And most often the cats that are ending up surrendered at shelters are for behavioral reasons. And what can we do as cat advocates to prevent that? Let's keep those mom and babies together. It is so vital. They learn so much from their mom and their siblings. And if you're 10 out of 10 always team cat, you should follow me. I have Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. It's all Wild at Heart Cats. If you want to hire me for one-on-one assistance, check my website, wildatheartcats.com. Sweepy wants to say hi.